Welcome to the Tales from Travellers podcast, a show that aims to share the unique experiences of expats, travellers, and those who've chosen to make a life abroad. Through our guests' unique experiences, we will explore the challenges and rewards of adjusting to a new culture, making connections, pursuing a career, or even raising a family in a different part of the world. Whether you're a seasoned traveller or new to the expat lifestyle, this podcast could be an insightful tool or just a fun distraction if you're thinking about taking the leap and moving abroad. So today I'm joined by Vika, an old friend of a friend who is now living in the fantastically warm and sunny Doha and is extremely passionate about the health and fitness lifestyle and just enjoying life as a whole. So from finding the right job to building a community and maintaining a healthy lifestyle, Vika seems to have done it all, but let's find out a little bit more. So first question, Vika. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how did Doha end up being the country that you're living in?
Okay. Well, a little bit about myself. So I'm a coach, personal trainer. I'm living and working in Doha now for 5 years. I lived in Scotland before for 7 years, so I've been living abroad for quite a while now. Doha, it was random to be honest, how I ended up here. As I said, I lived in Scotland and then I was planning to change my job. And then I got this opportunity to come here. I got an offer. To be honest, before I even moved, I didn't know Doha exists. Always knew just Dubai. And as I think the majority of people. So I got the opportunity. The manager contacted me from one of the gyms. And I needed a change in my life. And it was definitely a big change coming from Scotland to a Muslim country. And again, there is a lot of things that you hear in media, and especially if you don't know and you haven't experienced this culture before, you can think that it's totally different. But honestly, I love it. And as I said, I've been living here for 5 years now, working as a personal trainer, working at the gym. Now I'm freelancing. So I'm working for myself and I'm coaching a few classes in other gyms as well. So keeping myself busy in here.
Yeah, definitely busy. Always the biggest question that a lot of people tend to ask is, are they ready to move country? And are they ready for culture shock? What were your expectations like moving to Doha, a Muslim community, versus getting there?
Yeah, so to be honest, because I knew the manager from Scotland, so that kind of calmed me down a little bit. And obviously, he told me a lot about how the life actually is here in Doha, especially as a woman. Because obviously you thought like you need to cover up, you need to wear a abaya and all of these things. And so he kind of calmed me down. And I'm the kind of person that I just go with it. Like, listen, I want to change my life. I'm just doing it. So I didn't think too much, to be honest. I was like, do you know what? It's an experience. I'm not going to like it, I can always go back to Scotland. So I said I'm only going to live for a year here and I'll go back. When I came, it was a bit of a obviously shock seeing women that are covered. But at the same time, to be honest, there is such a mix of people. There is a lot of foreigners here. So, and my gym that I used to work at, it was a mixed gym. So you see a lot of, and the trainers from all over the world. So I didn't feel that much of a shock or the difference. And obviously once I get into knowing the culture, knowing my clients, them telling me about the culture and everything, I just became more and more comfortable with it, to be honest. And they're very welcoming. So I don't need to cover, I don't need to do anything, like all of these things. So it's obviously getting out of your comfort zone. It's always hard in the first year. I think it's always the first few months is always the hardest, but it's definitely worth it.
What was the application process like? Obviously, you knew your manager from Scotland. Was this a manager who was already making that journey to Doha and see if you want to come along? Or
So no, so the gym that I moved to was a newly open gym. He's already been living here for, I think before I moved, for over a year now. He's already lived here. So for me, because obviously I'm from Europe, so it was easy for me. So to get to Doha, all I needed was a visa. So the application was basically, I just had to send my CV, send my passport. They applied for all the documents, for my visa, for my residency card, and booked the tickets, and that was it. So for me, it was very easy. Obviously, depends the country that you come from, um, regarding the visas and stuff. But to be honest, to get in here, it's very simple and very, very easy process. Yeah.
With Dubai as a whole, the
Mm,
expat community and like foreigners, I suppose, is
mm.
quite a large community. Do is are those the kind of people that you engage with most of the time, or
Yes, there is. Listen, there is people from everywhere in here. I haven't met any Lithuanians, which I'm happy about. I don't really need to, as bad as it sounds. But mostly I engage. Well, my friends are some from Lebanon, some from South Africa, some from UK, some from even Qatar. So it's just like, yeah, it's just a mix of people. But yeah, you can find people from everywhere in here, honestly. But even Qataris, obviously, it's different culture. But once you get to know them, you become friends as well. To be honest,
yeah?
it's good.
Is it quite a mix of roles? Because again, a lot of the people that I
Mm,
speak to, when they're looking about working and moving abroad, the number one thing that tends to come up is teaching,
mhm.
especially for younger generations, people in their like 20s and early 30s.
Yeah,
You've gone over
definitely.
as a PT.
Mm.
Um,
Yes, there is a lot of teachers actually as well, but a lot of them are from UK. A lot of them are here. Most of them that I meet that are from UK are teachers. Um, Trainers now, especially like when it comes to fitness industry, it's been growing and it's grown a lot since I came here 5 years ago. It was kind of like people still getting to know fitness, what even is this, why do people train and all of that stuff, but now it's growing more and more, so there's more opportunities. And to be honest, Doha is one of those places that you can always find opportunities, especially if you know people, and there is always something. The place is growing. And if I compare this to Dubai, I feel like it's more competitive, whereas in here there is enough places for everyone, to be honest, enough jobs, enough everything. And even if you want to do something on your own, like, you can do it. Yeah.
have you looked at the opportunities for Dubai, or is Doha the place that you want to stay?
Yeah, Doha is the place. I've been to Dubai. Just I went for a competition and stuff, and then just on holidays for a few days. But no, it's too busy. It's too crowded. It's mostly in Dubai. It's only foreigners. Like literally, the locals they live more in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, for me it's too big. Whereas Doha, you can still obviously it's big, but you can kind of like drive around. Takes 20 minutes, whatever. If you go a little bit further, but it's more calm. Dubai is just, yeah, it's not a place for me for sure.
You mentioned you've gone over there for competitions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've noticed as well the fitness kind of world as a whole has really
Mm,
grown, especially in places like Doha, Dubai,
yeah.
Qatar, and the Middle East. As well as the boom in CrossFit as well. I say in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
last decade, from what I've seen,
Mm.
is that find a lot of people passionate about fitness come to Doha for because of the CrossFit world.
I think not in Doha, not as much because of the CrossFit, more to Dubai if you go for specifically for CrossFit. In Doha, more just the functional fitness. CrossFit is popular now in Doha and it's growing, but it's still, I would say, it's still kind of like a baby. They do competitions now in here, like local CrossFit competitions and everything. So it's slow. The past 2 years, I would say it's grown a lot.
Mm.
But Dubai is more of a like the place. There is so many CrossFit gyms in here and there, and yeah. But I think eventually Doha is gonna become this place as well. To be honest, we have a lot of CrossFit gyms as well. We have a lot of gyms in general in Doha. But yeah, in general, I think fitness industry is growing more and more and more, and especially within the local community as well, which is for them, it's like a big change, and even local women becoming trainers, which is amazing. So it's great. Hmm. 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 Yes, especially for good PTs. I'm gonna be honest, there is obviously it's easy now to become a PT. But especially for people who have good qualifications, good experience, 100%. As I said, there is a lot of gyms and there is new gyms opening as well.
Mm.
So it's important, and it's so obviously depends so much on the coaches. So bringing people from, let's say, UK or Europe, like that has experience for them, this is definitely, I would say, the place to be. Because Doha is kind of small, so that's why if you offer something different, so you'll definitely be known and you'll grow in here as a coach, as an athlete.
You mentioned you had 7 years in Scotland.
Hmm.
You've obviously grown yourself there, and you mentioned that you wanted to change jobs, change careers.
Yeah.
What were you doing in Scotland? Were you still studying fitness and to become a PT?
So before I even got into fitness in Scotland, after the university, I worked in retail. I think as a lot of people do
Yeah.
in UK, and then I got into fitness, got my qualifications and everything, and then eventually I moved to Edinburgh, where I worked in Virgin Active, which then became Nuffield Health. So yeah, after that, so after working, I started as a PT, then I became fitness manager and then operations manager. So I worked my way up in there. And after, yeah, so I wanted to change jobs. So then I got an offer to work in a hotel, run the hotel gyms and their fitness side of things. But yeah, but then at the same time, I was like, it's the same, obviously the same city. So I needed like a new challenge.
When your colleague, your manager came in and mentioned
Mhm.
Doha, and obviously, what was it straight away? Yeah, actually, yeah, let's go to Doha. Or do you go, actually, I might want to move to another part of England, I might want to, or Great Britain, UK, or go back to Europe? Or
Yeah, to be honest, I was at that point where it's like, do you know what? Now I'm still young. I can still do it. And if I'm not gonna do it, I'm just gonna stay in Scotland. And I know I would have regretted it. So I didn't really think too much. Obviously I spoke to my parents and I was like, listen, I'm planning to move. I got the approval. So then it literally, I think within a month, I got all my documents, I got all my paperwork and packed my bags. And then I left, and yeah, haven't been back since to Scotland.
you're probably enjoying better weather as
Yeah,
well.
oh, 100%. It's just now it's been like raining a few days, but yeah, like listen, the weather and everything is definitely much better here.
Just seeing your Instagram every now and then, I mean, my gym is in a damn cold warehouse, but your gym seems to be on a balcony overlooking the amazing sights and
Yeah,
sounds of
so
Doha.
outdoor gyms in here, it's very popular having outdoor area. It's because obviously of the weather. Well, during the summer you can't use it because it's too hot, but like during the winter for us, it's perfect and people love it. So in here you'll find I think 99% of the gyms that has inside and then outdoors as well. So it's
Well,
perfect. Not to make you
that's
jealous
right.
or anything.
That's all right. You don't make me jealous. I'll stick with my warehouse.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these obviously outdoor gyms, not just because of the weather, but because of the cost of living and the expenses. Doha, the Middle East, comparing it to places like the UK and England, it's a bit of a step up. It's a bit
Yes,
pricier. Things
definitely.
cost a bit more. When you moved out there,
Mhm.
did your work and your manager, did they help set you up with accommodation, or did you have to go out looking for an apartment, looking for a box to live in?
Mhm. So the way it works, the way with I would say most of the gyms, obviously there are different gyms, but where before I moved, so my gym provide the accommodation. They provide the transport from the accommodation to the gym. So the accommodation that they normally provide, it's like villas. So the girls' villa, then there is the boys' villa, and the gym was 10 minutes away by car. So and then basically with that you get so accommodation and you get your basic salary. So you don't need to pay for anything. You get your basic salary and then when you work as a coach, as a personal trainer, then you get your commission. So again, every gym has different commission schemes and stuff. So in a way, obviously you can survive. It's enough, but it is an expensive country. So when you come from Scotland or whatever, and you start seeing like, okay, food prices and everything, even though you don't pay for accommodation, but it does cost a lot. But eventually, once you find your feet, like it's okay. So my gym definitely like they helped me a lot. They provided everything, and obviously people lived there before, so they told me like the places to go to and all of these things. So no, they definitely helped a lot. And if you want to live in the staff accommodation, you can live for as long as you want. But again, if you want to move out to your own place, you can do that as well.
Would you say it's achievable to move out by your own place, or do a lot of people tend to live in staff accommodation for the long term?
So from my experience, most of our PTs, either you live for the first year or like up to 2 years, because the accommodation, if you move out, it's very expensive. Like it's very expensive to live. Mostly people either live with someone or live in the studio apartments. Again, the places that the apartments are very nice when you move, but yeah, you have to pay quite a lot of money. So for the first year or two, till you kind of like, okay, build your business, build everything, then yeah, you live in the staff accommodation, and then you get some allowance, but again, it's just a small amount that you get the allowance, you know.
And now with you starting up your own PT business, private,
Hmm.
how was it starting up your own business? Did you find it easy? Was it a slow burn?
it's
And
it's hard because again, it's something that you get out of your comfort zone. Working at the gym, you have your set salary or you have your basic salary, you have your commission, so you kind of roughly know your income that you have coming in. When you go to work by yourself as a freelancer, it's great, you don't work for anyone. But again, it's hard because I think with all the PTs you can't be guaranteed, obviously, if the same client's going to be the next month. Maybe they'll travel. Again, when you work as a freelance, you don't get paid for your holidays. Whereas if you work at the gym,
yeah,
you get paid for your holidays. So it's like it has its pros and cons. But for me, it's good because I work as a coach in one of the gyms. I'm just coaching part time. So I do 3 times classes, I coach classes in there. So having like a little base and then having my PTs, that's for me. And if you are as a freelancer, that's the best way to go, to be honest.
with the other PTs, the other
Hmm.
expats that are working at the gym, is there a high turnover? You've been there for 5 years.
Mm.
Do you find that other PTs stick around for 1 or 2 and then go home,
Yes,
or is it?
it's a high turnover, to be honest, especially in my gym, because I think the more people want to kind of like live. Okay, you work for the. I worked in my gym for over 3 years, and then you start seeing, okay, I can either go work by myself, be a freelance, it'll be better for me, or people after a year they just don't like it. They don't like the culture. They don't like the way of living, the living costs or things like that. So people either go back home or move to the same Dubai, they move to Kuwait, they move to Saudi. So yes, especially in the gyms, there is a definitely a high turnover.
Being in fitness, probably more just as important as the exercise itself is what you eat.
100%.
What is the food like out there? And, do you miss Scottish food, even though it's quite UK?
To be honest, no, I don't miss it. But the quality and everything is good. It's very good. You can find everything that you want in the supermarket. Even the same Scottish food, you can find it there as well. Like anything you want. So but again, I think it's in everywhere. Like if you wanna buy better quality food, of course you're gonna pay more. But things like even like restaurants or everything, there is a lot of healthy places, healthy restaurants to eat. So to be honest, it's easy. And again, you can find the places to buy the food from, and you can still manage your expenses and everything so that it wouldn't cost you that much, you know?
As a young
Hmm.
woman in Doha, people do kind of think, do I have to cover up, especially
Yeah.
as a woman? Is it safe to go out? Will I be looked at no matter
Hmm.
where you go? I mean, the people in China, a lot of kind of Western women, when they go there in certain rural
Yeah.
parts, you do get stared at. People do start wanting to take photos. You mentioned that it was fine for you getting there and the culture shock wasn't
Hmm.
that grand. Is that for the whole of Doha, or do you still have to follow some of the
You
Muslim rules when you're
still
out there?
have to follow it. So there is a few parts. So there is like there is the Pearl, Lucille, which are more, I would say, open parts where women can wear shorts. There is a beach. I live next to the beach, so you can wear your bikini, go for a swim. If you go to more like Souk, that's like an older side of Doha. That's their older place. So that's where you would. I don't need like cover up, but obviously I wouldn't wear like open shoulders and shorts. I would cover my legs, cover my shoulders, not for anything, but then if you don't, again, people stare. And then just to respect, of course, the culture and everything. So in certain places, obviously women don't need to wear abayas and things like that and cover their hair unless if you would go to the mosque or something, yes, of course. But it's just more for yourself, I would say. But to be honest, in the area where I live and the area that I work at, it's absolutely free and yeah, you don't need to worry about anything. I think it's becoming more, especially now that I've seen for the past 5 years, it's becoming more and more even open. And especially after the World Cup,
Mm.
yeah, it's just definitely the locals becoming more used to this as well and more open to Europeans and the way obviously we dress and things like that. But again, as I said, it's just you need to know when to respect the culture and when to kind of like, okay, be a bit more modest, you know?
In that mindset as well, after the World or during
Mm-hmm.
the World Cup, when a lot of British people, a lot of Europeans moved over, everyone does have these thoughts. Do I have to cover up? Am I
Yeah.
going to be safe? Do I have to be certain respectful? Did you find that now post World Cup in Doha, people both on both sides, Doha and European, they seem more open-eyed to it all, and they see that it's now more of an accessible
Hundred
country to go on
percent,
holiday
hundred
for.
percent. Especially just before the World Cup, the media and everyone was like, yeah, they were talking about so badly about Doha, about everything. And then when people came, especially mostly people from UK, when they meet like not like necessarily meet local people, but they see everything they see, they're like, oh wow, it's actually you can do things in here. It's not like what people say you can't do anything. With the same as like if you want to go out and drink, you can do that. You don't. It's not like it's forbidden or anything. It's just there are places where you can go and you do it. You know. So I think people seeing it now more. That it's a place that has a lot to offer, that has a lot to see, like a lot of beautiful places in here, and people are not as I would say as strict as they thought that they are. You know.
Especially, I think when you're dealing with British people as well, I think because there's a certain level of, I don't know, I want to say stinginess and strictness about just British people as a
Yeah.
whole. So it was good because it's such a long tournament as a
Mm.
whole. I'm not a massive football person, so you'll probably understand. I won't have a clue
There's a
what football
many
fans think
that
of football. So I will just refer to it as the World Cup and football
Mm.
fans. But because it's such a long
Mm.
tournament, did you find that there were more people, like say, stopping off? And did you find an influx in tourists coming to like your gym and you engaging with
Hmm.
these football fans, explaining Doha
Yeah,
to
so
them?
to be honest, because I'm not a football fan as well, so I didn't really get involved too much in the whole like fan zones or the whole tournament and everything. But yes, where there has been, we've seen a big influx. Not as much to the gyms, to be honest. At the gyms, didn't see as many, like obviously, like other people coming in. But
Mm.
if you would go to certain places where like there's more attractions and things like that, yes, a lot of like people from all over the world, to be honest. So and the locals, especially like obviously I'm speaking to my clients and other locals and stuff, so they loved it. For them, seeing like more foreigners coming in and everything, they loved it. And then when once everyone left, everyone had like a post-workout depression because Doha became so quiet. You know, everyone is like, what's going on? So no, definitely. I think now Doha is trying as well to do more events, to bring more, again, more singers, more everything, just because it's great. It's great for the community, it's great for everyone, yeah.
Just like a lot of the countries and cities around there, it has grown not just in
Yeah.
just in size, but in popularity as well. But there's always this I'm going to stick with football for a little bit because I always find it fascinating. There's always a preconception about the football
Mhm.
yobs, and luckily, apparently, this is the first World Cup where no English people were arrested because and they put it down to the
Yeah,
fact that
I
no
was gonna
alcohol was
say,
being
yeah.
sold. Did were there any? Obviously, you coming from
Mm.
Scotland, part of the UK, massive football country. Did people come up to you from
Mhm.
like South Africa, all that? I think that's still quite football fan, and be like, should we be worried about football jobs? And did you have to tell people, yeah, they're not so bad? Did you calm them down, or did you just stay
To
out
be
of it?
honest, personally, I just stayed out of it. But yeah, I think at first people were a bit like, how it's gonna be without alcohol, without all of these things. But especially, and then the things that we were kind of like hearing and stuff as well, that women felt so much safer, and they said this is the first World Cup that, especially people that travel to all the World Cups, that it was
Mm.
so you don't need to worry, and the way it's been organized, and obviously the alcohol and everything is just everyone I think enjoyed it even more, and even the British people, they loved it. So yeah, it was good, I think, to see that it can be done without alcohol as well.
It can be done, but
Good.
God help us when the next World Cup starts. Um,
Definitely.
it might have been a dry tournament in Doha, but I assure you that
That,
in
yeah,
England it
that
was
is it.
very
That's the
cool.
only one that's been like this.
No. Coming on from sport, big fitness. You also mentioned you go to
Mhm.
Dubai for some competitions. Is there a big sport over there that they're passionate about, or is it still quite neutral?
In Doha,
Yeah.
do you know what? Like when it comes to sports, mostly now, but that's more like they love their paddle, which is similar to like tennis. They love that, but that's just a new thing, and then it just becomes popular and popular in here. So everyone starts doing it. Um, Sport is not as much like I would say they like their triathlons. Now they're doing the marathon next Friday. So it's becoming, I think it's slowly, I would say growing, but there is not like one sport that they would just like be so in love with, yeah. But it's just a mixture of
Yeah.
everything. But they're doing, as I said, they're doing events, which is amazing. So like next Friday when they do this marathon, it's like around 9,000 people that signed up. So it's great.
No, running gives me
Well,
panic
I'm
attacks.
doing
But
21K. I haven't done it in my life, but might as well.
no,
I
well, I
think.
wish you all the best, but I'll sit down.
Yeah.
I'll be out of breath for you. But again, that comes down to your life, your goal, your
Mm,
job. Your Instagram puts you down as a CrossFit
yeah.
rookie, and again, you've mentioned that you've done some
Mm.
competitions. Are there more coming up, and are there many more competitions around the Middle
Yes, there
East?
is actually quite a few. I said, especially in Dubai. Well, now I'm kind of moving a little bit from CrossFit, so I need to actually update my Instagram. So there is competitions in Doha as well that they're gonna do two CrossFit competitions this year, as I know of, and there might be more. But I'm now moving more towards like Hyrox training. I don't know. It must be actually popular in UK as well. I don't know if you've heard because they do competitions in London as well. Yeah, well, if you
Yeah,
know.
not one that I've heard
Okay,
of.
so we're planning either to go. I'm planning to go in March to Barcelona for this competition. It's more like a functional, more like endurance kind of like competition. But yes, in Doha there is a few coming up this year as well. So there is always something to work towards. And in Dubai, Saudi, they just had 2 weeks ago, they had big CrossFit competition in Saudi. So yeah, there is around this region, there's a lot, honestly, that's going on.
And for potential
Hmm.
people who want to get into fitness, want to get into being a PT abroad, is there what is the advice you give them? Do they need to have a specialism? How do they need to push themselves to get a job in
So first
Doha?
of all, obviously, since you have your qualifications and everything, having something unique that you can offer, again, knowing what's your speciality, what kind of, if you want to work at the gym, I would say the best way to start, especially when you move to a new country, is first start at the gym, because this is where you get to know the people, where you get to know the culture and you meet people. So that's the best way to start it. And this is where you can even like find yourself, okay, if I want to work at the gym, or do maybe I specialize in powerlifting, so I'm gonna create my own powerlifting club or whatever, like, let's say that. So yeah, that's the best way to start. But honestly, it's easy, it's simple. The best way is looking into different gyms. Again, social media, it's so easy these days. Like you can DM them, contact them, or even if you see someone like even myself, okay, she lives in Doha, maybe she knows, contacted people like that. So yeah, it's very, very easy, definitely. It's just not being scared and knowing what do you expect as well from the job and what do you want, So,
You may know, do these gyms,
hmm
when they bring over PTs from other countries, do they offer a sponsorship? Like
yes.
with
hmm
when I went over to China, they offered to reimburse you for your flight. They obviously, as you mentioned, give
Yeah.
you accommodation. But there aren't these upfront costs that can put
No, so
people off,
normally,
are there?
especially when I moved, I'm not too sure at the moment because I haven't worked for the gym for a while now, but I'm sure it's still when they say the gym, the company brings you over, so they'll pay for your visa, they'll sponsor you, they'll pay for your flights, and again, depending on your contract, normally they do annually, they give you one flight back to your home country as well. So after a year of working with them, so all the costs and most of the gyms, as I said as well, they provide accommodation as well. So again, you don't obviously need to worry about these things, which are big things. So you can come, have your first, I would say, like savings money for your food and things like that, till you get your feet. Um, and then you start working and everything. So normally, again, as it depends on the company, but most of the companies, they will look after you and get all the paperwork and everything sorted for you. Yeah.
And before
Mm.
anyone goes over there, are there anything they should have ready? I mean, everyone goes everywhere with their phone. There's not any
Yeah.
way to escape it, and especially in the Middle East, it's a very forward-thinking place
Yeah.
when it comes to technology. When you move to, I'm gonna use
Uh-huh.
China because that's where I've been. You can't use half the apps that you'd use over here. You can't use Instagram, you can't use Facebook
Mm.
without a VPN, and you can't use WhatsApp. You have WeChat. Are there any apps for Doha and the Middle East as a whole that you suggest people must have on their phone to survive
To
or
be
get by?
honest, you can use everything in here. And again, when it comes just to calls, you would need a VPN. But apart from that, your WhatsApp, your Instagram, your Facebooks, and everything is working perfect fine. And there is nothing that I can even think of now, to be honest, that we just like use in Doha or anything. No, everything is very open and easygoing. But I've heard that in China it's much, much more restricted.
Yeah, half the stuff didn't work, and it doesn't help that I've got a Google phone, so I can't go back there now at all. But thank you for
Yeah.
VPNs.
No,
They're very
in
they're
Middle East in general, like even in Dubai and everywhere, it's absolutely fine.
You moved over there. You knew your manager. You've been there for 5 years. What kind of friendships have you struck up over that 5 years? Are these people that you've known for the 5 years, or is it so
It's
easy to make
very easy
friends
to make
out there?
friends, to be honest. The one I would say advice that I would give to people is obviously be careful, especially I don't know as a woman, and if you come to a foreign country and if you are European, and when it comes to like Arab men or all of these things, they will talk a lot, you know. So you just have to kind of like
Yeah.
okay, no, have your boundaries and things like that. But in general, no, it's very easy to make friends. And again, if you work at the gym, so again, the first I think friends that will become is going to be your colleagues. Since moving obviously away from the gym, working by myself and going to different gyms, I have friends from different places and things like that. But yeah, it's very Doha. I would say it's definitely very, very easy place to make people to meet people, and people are all easygoing, most of them, and especially in fitness community. This is the best way to meet people, to make friends. You go to different gyms. Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Would you say that you've built up a strong reputation and you've got a strong presence now across the fitness community in
I
Doha
would say
that you've worked
yes,
towards?
definitely. That's for me, it's very important obviously when I choose the gyms that, let's say, they ask me to cover or to work for or coach or freelance or whatever. So yes, I build the reputation, and again, competitions help as well because you put yourself out there so people get to know you. And obviously when you coach classes, as I said, Doha is quite small, so again, people will talk. So yes, I'm known quite a strict coach.
Yeah. How have you marketed yourself in a way that gets you out there, not only to say foreigners
Hmm.
coming in to do their fitness and gyms and going to gyms, but how have you marketed yourself to Doha and to the Muslim community and Arab men? Like, how have you marketed yourself?
So to be honest, my social media has kind of changed quite a lot, and I'm actually building my fitness page, which is going to be the separate. When it comes to marketing yourself, I haven't, as a coach, I haven't marketed myself as much. So the gym obviously helped me a lot when it comes to getting the clients and things like that. But again, have to be careful as well what you post on your social media. I would say when you are in a foreign country, it's as open as it is. You still kind of like have to again like respect it, and yeah, again depends what you want to market. So yeah, definitely.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
well, moving away from your fitness, and let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about your time in Doha. Obviously, just looking at you type in photos. There's fantastic architecture. There's wonderful surroundings. Was there a moment when you were in Doha over the last 5 years, or even yesterday, that has like implanted a core memory? Are there any sights and sounds that are always going to be
Oh
with
yeah,
you while
definitely.
out there?
The Pearl. So this is the area where I live. That has the marina, all the boats around, the beautiful places. Yeah, and again, I have where I work, where the gyms are. They have a beautiful promenade where you go. So that's the favorite places. That's definitely will always be in my mind. Will always remind me of Doha. Doha has so many beautiful places, but I think that's the two places. That's my two favorite ones. Yeah.
And what is the nightlife like?
Again, it's if you want to go party, if you want to go out clubbing, if you want to do that, you can do that. There is plenty of
Mm.
places to do that. If you want to go for a nice chill dinner, especially now after the World Cup that they built and opened so many different restaurants, you can always do that as well. If you want to just relax and go for a walk by the beach on the same promenade, you can do that also. So it honestly everyone can choose whatever they want, whatever they prefer. So it's a big variety of things to do.
Would you say you've seen everything that Doha has to offer, or are you still finding new streets to walk down and new sights to see?
There is still new things and new sites to see, to be honest. As I said again, like especially that they opened so many new things and I still haven't seen it all. Because for me personally, when I live and work in like just 10 minutes away from the two places, so I live in this bubble. So going to a new place is kind of like making an effort. So, but no, definitely there is many more places and things to do and things to see, and there is more things. I feel like there is new things coming up, opening every single day. So, and this is what Doha is known for as well. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
expanding.
honestly, yeah.
You make it sound like it's home now. Is Doha home?
Yes. Well, yeah, I want to say yes, it is. I mean, I'm not planning to move anywhere anytime soon. So for now, it's home and it does feel like home. Again, at the end of the day, you'll always feel like a foreigner. But even when I go back home, I feel like a foreigner. So I'm kind of like in between.
In a wonderful state of limbo.
Yeah, 100%. But no, it does feel very homey, like honestly, and it's a place that I can call home right now, and definitely grateful to be here. Yeah.
Is family? Are they still in Lithuania? Is there family in Scotland?
No, my family is all in Lithuania, so they're all back home. Yeah.
Do you manage to go back to Lithuania much to see them, or is it?
Because I only go once a year back home because it's quite a journey to go home. But they kind of my family is used to this as well. I've always been the one living abroad, so and especially living in Doha, you want to travel somewhere else as well, see places. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, okay, once a year I go home, and then the rest, maybe two times or one more time, go somewhere to a different country.
How many other countries have you been to whilst out in
Whilst
Doha?
in Doha, I've only been to two because of Corona and everything, couldn't really travel much. been
Oh yeah.
stuck. So I've only been to two, but this year is the year when I'm planning to definitely travel more. Thailand and South Africa are on the list.
Oh wow. Yeah, two very beautiful countries to go
Yes,
see.
definitely.
Just quickly on it, I don't want to like make bore everyone with COVID because hopefully it won't be a problem. But how was your life during COVID in Doha?
It was challenging. It was like definitely a thing as for everyone. It was close. I was close to moving back home because again, I was lucky that our gym, I was still working for the gym, so they helped us obviously to pay for accommodation and things like that. So I was lucky with that. It was definitely challenging for everyone. A lot of places had to close down. Even a lot of people lost their jobs. So it was definitely an eye opener as well for everyone. How things can change quickly. But
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully nothing like this will ever happen again. So
no,
yeah.
fingers crossed. I mean, the thing that I brought
Mm.
out of it, I mean, I was again like everyone else,
Mm,
locked down at home. You come out of it with a greater sense of taking care of your mental well-being,
100%, yes.
and you being, a fitness
Mm.
freak, fitness guru, all about it. That must have been something that did that change how you like exercised and just
Yeah,
relax?
definitely. I was exercising in my balcony. So, as a lot of people again, because the gyms were closed and it was too hot to even do anything like just go run outside. Um, yeah, but that was the only thing I think that kept me sane. But again, more people saw it as well that, okay, it's not a must to go to the gym. You can do something at home as well. So it was kind of like a good and a bad thing in both
Yeah,
ways.
that's all right. It's better than sweating out in my
Yeah,
living room. That was my
that's what you did, yeah.
yeah. No, that was the joy of everything. Have you found since being out there? Have you got that big accomplishment? Something that's made you say year two. That's when you completed your first expo, maybe. And then you said, "This is my big achievement. I'm staying out here for another year." Do you have that moment, that star moment, while you're out there?
I think surviving again, surviving COVID and coming out of it and building, because this is when I started just after I started my being a freelancer. So I think that was like just COVID just finished and then I started. So that was like my biggest like, okay, I'm staying and I'm gonna work my ass off. I'm gonna build it and I'm just still at the very bottom. I'm still step by step, but I think that, and I definitely said to myself, this year is gonna be the year. So that's why I'm finally starting to build my online business and everything. So yes, and that's why I decided to stay more in Doha because there is so much more opportunities. I know there is so much more to take from it.
Definitely, 100%. There's huge
Yeah.
opportunities. I mean, when I was looking into it, fitness, PTs, marketing, teachers. I mean, as you mentioned earlier,
Everything, honestly,
yeah,
in every industry that you can think of, there is always something.
no, it's crazy, and it's amazing how many opportunities there are. I know a few teachers in England, and
Mm,
so many of them have colleagues who have, because of one, the cost of living in
yeah,
England and the pay, they've moved to Doha, Dubai, Qatar, just to
exactly.
have a better life and not have to be worried about being.
Exactly, exactly. And it's just, again, it's not being scared to take that step. Obviously, there's always a risk involved, and it's always, as I said, it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it in the end.
Do you know anyone or any families that may have moved into Doha? Because it's such a welcoming city for any industry.
Families, I've only know like married couples. But I know obviously that I know people that met in here and got married and had kids. Yes, I know of them as well. So it's very, and again, it's as I said, like it's very welcoming and it's very, even for foreigners and everything, like it's very easy to get everything sorted, even to build a family. It's very safe, first of all. So, and they provide and help out and everything. So it's good.
Yeah. I'm going to say thank you so much. This has been like really eye opening. I mean, I don't
Thank you.
know much about Doha or fitness as a whole. I just kind of go and hurt myself at the gym.
Yeah.
But
If you ever get a chance, definitely come to Doha.
I'll tell you what, you have maybe put it on my list of places to go.
Yes,
Uh,
100%. It should be on the list for everyone.
yeah, I mean, the flights aren't too bad. Obviously, you're 3 hours ahead of UK time, and there's
Yeah.
always something to do. But I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
I'm sticking it on my list. It's going to be
Yeah.
somewhere. Same with you. 2023 is hopefully going to be the year where I'm going to do a bit more, get
Yeah.
out of my comfort zone as well. It's one of the reasons I'm doing this.
Yeah,
So
100%. It's amazing. Yeah.
before wrapping up and letting you enjoy the rest of your day, I
Hmm.
have these last few questions, and these are just quick
Hmm.
fire questions. Trying not to think about them too much, see what comes to mind first.
Okay.
So, what advice would you give to yourself 5 years ago before moving to Doha?
You're gonna have to work hard to get where you want to be. It's gonna be a roller coaster of a journey, but you're gonna come out of it stronger.
Was there anything that you forgot to pack when you first moved?
No, not really, because I'm such a light packer that you know what? Quickly, no.
Backpack done.
Yeah.
Have you picked up any favorite phrases while you're out there? Any favorite sayings?
Well, the Arabic word, the one that they always use, that they say inshallah, which means inshallah, like yes, maybe it will happen, but if they say inshallah, it means it's not gonna happen.
Oh, very
So
optimistic
yes,
word.
we all use that now.
Yeah. This might be an easy one for you, but being in the gym, everyone gets in the zone with a certain kind of music. Could be heavy metal, could be dance, could be trance, could be pop,
Hmm.
could be jazz. Is there a song that is always number one on your playlist?
Ooh. Now at the moment, ooh, what is it called? Ferrari? I'm sure it's called Ferrari.
I think I know the one you're on about.
I think now it has to be at least once. It has to play once when I train.
Well, and obviously you've mentioned it. Where are you off to next? Are you going to Thailand or South Africa? What's the first on the list?
Ooh, I think the first will be Thailand.
And what country is on your bucket list that you have to see one day?
Iceland, Northern Lights, that's on my bucket list for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm there next month, so I will send you a photo, and then
No way!
yeah, so I will
Oh
send you
my
that,
God.
and maybe that'll give you the nudge to go there this year.
Yeah, 100%. Wow, amazing.
But again, Vika, thank you so much for
Yeah.
your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
This has
It's
been
been a
absolutely
pleasure.
wonderful, and I'll let you go and enjoy your day.
I'm off
And
to train.
off the train.
Yeah.
Thank God it's a rest day. It's too wet and windy here as well. So, thank you for joining us today. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to the Tales from Travellers podcast to stay up to date on past and future episodes. I'm always looking to share new stories from expats and expats from all over the world. So please reach out if you'd like to share your story. You never know, your story could be the one that helps someone make that life-changing choice. You can find us on Instagram at Tales from Travellers. I'd love to hear your story, and more importantly, I'd love to share it with the world. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again for joining me, and until next time, happy travels.
Thank you. You too.